All right, I think we're going. Welcome back to another one of these. Today is Monday. Welcome. Welcome to the start of yet another week or something. I hope you're doing swell. Uh, this past weekend just finished up HEDQ. For those of you who could stop by, I hope they were enjoyable runs for you. There's a dog sneaking up on my lap this weekend. We also got our second foster. So her name's Ember. She's a puppy this time instead of an older dog. So dealing with all the puppy fun, the peeing and pooping inside a little bit, still fun. Woohoo! But yeah, hopefully your AGDQ experience was wonderful. I know I saw a few good runs over the weekend. Need to go back and check out a few. One of them I'm watching right now to the side. I'll get back to watching it after this. Is the Catch 'em All Pokemon Blue run. You have to get all the Pokemon. Naturally, you're not doing it in any normal way. You're getting 151 Pokemon in about an hour and 51 minutes. So, a lot of stuff to do there. But yeah, things to talk about today. One of the things that I saw this weekend, too, now that I met her, like personally or anything, but Emily Grassley stopped doing the Brain Scoop and left her job at the Field Museum, which is like a really kind of weird thing to see. Like, I know she's going to do wonderful wherever she goes. She's an awesome person, and kind of inspired me to do like a bit of the kind of risk taking and the things that I wanted to do after hearing her story about looking to find her way into a field that she wanted to be in. She started volunteering with a zoological museum in Minnesota or Montana. Sorry, not Minnesota, Montana. And just like put in just a bunch of time, just showed up a bunch, showed a lot of like initiative, and just eventually, just when the time just shown itself, Hank Green happened to be stopping by for Vlogbrothers video, I believe at the time. I think it was Vlogbrothers. And they were just like, hey, let's start, like, did you want to do a show just about not necessarily natural history, but just about animals, and not necessarily like all of the dissections and things that she ended up being kind of initially getting her fame for, but just curiosity about the world and the natural world in general. And like it just sort of took off from there. Like for that first year was a little scary, and then after that first year, she got the show picked up by the Field Museum in Chicago, and she was just like super stoked and went to go do that. So she continued doing the show, and they ended up making a position for her called Chief Curiosity Correspondent, and she's been doing that for, I believe it's 8.5 years, which is like crazy that you just kind of, don't want to say like just land in your dream job, but just putting in all the time that you can so that when the opportunity arises for you to take that risk, you go ahead and take it. So it was kind of weird to hear that she'd stopped doing that. Like after doing it for as long as she has been, like going to the next big thing for her is probably a big thing to do. Like you're not just gonna, in the world that we live in, it feels like people aren't going to be doing the same job for their entire lives. They're just going to find the next thing that interests them, and they go with that. But like listening to that story, hearing her tell that, I did a really poor job of it. Highly recommend checking out the Brain Scoop. For just, she's gone over, like all the topics are great, all the videos are fantastic, but in addition to that, she's talked about just how she's landed where she was, and up until now, which is just fantastic. It was super inspirational. Like from that, I put together my plan to to go full-time remote. So I was initially working out of an office and wanted to do more volunteer work, but I didn't want to have to drive like an hour to get to where I wanted to go volunteer. So made the case to my manager. I'm like, hey, just so you know, I would like to work full-time remote. I don't think I necessarily have to quit to do that. If you let me do this, I'll stick around, but if not, I'm leaving. And that turned into just me being able to work full-time remote. Within the next half a year, we'd moved to within a 10-minute drive of the arboretum that I now volunteer at relatively frequently. And just started doing a bunch of learning about ecological sciences, and that's where I ended up starting Prismatic Planet from. So I'm just kind of putting in my time right now, trying to give myself as many opportunities as I can to learn and share that knowledge and connect with more people about just the things that I'm interested in. If not for hearing Emily's stories, that might not have ever really clicked for me. I knew I wanted to do it for the longest time, but never really thought it was like a possible thing. Who does that kind of stuff? And then seeing that, it just sort of gave me a bit more of that push. So yeah, I guess kind of this feels like it'll be kind of a short one, but not a ton to say. Just I thought it was a pretty surprising thing, but at the same time makes a lot of sense. Just following her own advice again for another chapter of her journey, and just want to share that that's a very real way to approach how you want something to change in your life. It's not always just somebody gets you or gives you what it is that you want. You have to find ways to either make what you have work better for you or take those risks. Like for me, I didn't know I'd have a job after that. It's just you let people know. It's like, this is how this is going to work. If not, I'm out. Granted, everyone's in different positions. I'd had enough money saved up, and Heather makes plenty of money too. So financially, we're pretty well set. But for those kinds of things, we would have definitely had to shift how we were living. And even now, that's just always changing. Even now, I'm not really feeling myself as being as much of a developer anymore. I want to do more writing. I'm looking for more writing opportunities. And when those experiences, when those opportunities show themselves, I plan on taking them. It's going to be kind of weird. I knew this time would come. I'm not always going to have worked where I'm working. Been there for 8 years now. I knew that wasn't always the final place for my career or where I wanted to go, but it's still kind of weird. I think it's kind of weird for anybody. You get so used to the people you work with, and they're kind of just your family away from home in a lot of ways. And you might even find some things in work that are even though this isn't where I want to be right now, I still very much enjoy parts of it. And being able to close that part of that chapter of your life is a bit of a tough thing to do sometimes. But knowing that when you do want to make those moves, there's a fair bit of risk in there. Sometimes it does just fall in your lap, but in many ways you got to do a lot of work to get there. So yeah, don't always take all the crazy risks in the world, but know that when you do want to make those big changes, there's probably a bit of sacrifice, a bit of risk involved, and just making sure you put yourself where all the places that you can to be where you need to be at the right time to make that next move. And don't be afraid to make it once you're committed. That's kind of where I'm at right now. It's shaky. It's do I want to make this jump? And it's probably just a matter of convincing myself. It's yeah, now's the time. You've told yourself for over a year now, this is the time. This is where you wanted to jump off. Go do it, and just do it. So saying it out loud for other people to hear, and hopefully for me to hear too, because apparently saying it in my head isn't enough sometimes. Yeah, hopefully that's something somebody wanted to hear. Yeah, maybe it's something I wanted to hear too. Who knows? Who knows? Anyway, probably won't be doing a lot of these longer ones. I don't know when the dogs will start yipping or trying to play or something. They're separated right now, but yeah, that might be a little fun for the rest of the next couple weeks. Anyway, hope you have a wonderful rest of your Monday. Go catch up on some speedrunning videos if you missed out on a few from last week. I know I will. And yeah, we'll catch you in the next one. See ya.